Look, everything you think you know about stopping cancer after 50, it's incomplete. Your doctor isn't lying to you. They just don't have time in a 15-minute appointment to tell you what I'm about to share right now. There are 5 foods, ordinary foods you walk past every single week at your local supermarket, that have been quietly studied by some of the most respected medical institutions in this country. And the results are staggering. I'm talking about Harvard Medical School, Johns Hopkins, Stanford, the Mayo Clinic. These aren't fringe studies. This is hard science, published, peer-reviewed, and almost nobody is talking about it. Here's what grabbed me by the throat. Researchers at Harvard Medical School followed more than 47,000 adults age 50 and older for nearly 2 decades, 20 years of data. And what they found was this. The people who consistently ate specific plant compounds had a 41% lower rate of common cancers compared to those who didn't. 41%. That's not a margin of error. That's not luck. That is a biological signal, and we need to pay attention. Now, here's the thing that's going to blow your mind. Number 2 on the list, I'm about to count down for you. It's something you probably ate this week, but I'd bet money you prepared it wrong. There's a simple mistake, takes 30 seconds to fix, that most people make that completely erases the cancer-fighting benefit. I'm going to show you exactly what that is, and I promise you it will change the way you cook forever. But before we go any further, and I need something from you, leave me a comment right now. Tell me your age. Tell me if cancer has touched your life or the life of someone you love. I read every single comment on this channel, every one, and your story shapes the content I create. This channel exists because of you, so talk to me. Let me hear your voice. All right, we're counting down from 5 to 1. These are ranked from highly powerful to absolutely extraordinary. Every single one of these foods is available at your corner grocery store for just a few bucks. Let's go. Number 5, and this one shocks almost everyone I tell it to. We're talking about black beans. Not sexy, not trendy. You won't see them on the cover of a health magazine. But black beans have quietly emerged from the research labs with a stubborn, undeniable potency that we cannot ignore. Scientists at the Cleveland Clinic Cancer Center published findings showing that compounds in black beans, specifically something called resistant starch and a group of polyphenols called anthocyanins, those are the pigments that make the beans dark. These compounds actively suppress the growth of colon cancer cells in laboratory models by up to 75% suppression. Now, colon cancer is one of the top killers of men and women over 50 in the United States, so this matters a lot. Here's the mechanism, and it's beautiful. Think of resistant starch like a slow-burning log. Unlike regular carbs that your body burns fast and turns into sugar, resistant starch travels all the way through your small intestine undigested. It arrives in your colon intact, and that's where your gut bacteria go to work. They ferment it, and they produce something called short-chain fatty acids. One of those acids is called butyrate, and butyrate does something remarkable. It tells precancerous cells in your colon to self-destruct before they ever become a problem. Your body has this built-in cleanup system, and black beans help activate it. Now think about that. After 50, your intestinal lining starts to weaken. Doctors call it increased intestinal permeability. Some people call it leaky gut. What it means is this. The barrier that's supposed to keep toxins and inflammatory compounds contained starts to fail. That creates a low-grade inflammatory environment in your colon. And cancer cells love inflammation. They thrive in it. Black beans fight this on 2 fronts. The fiber feeds the good bacteria that reinforce that lining. And the anthocyanins attack the inflammation directly at the molecular level. Here's how to do it right. Dried beans that you soak overnight and cook yourself release about 30% more of these protective compounds compared to canned. If you're using canned for convenience, totally fine. Just drain and rinse them thoroughly. And here's the synergy move. Add a tablespoon of extra virgin olive oil when you cook them. The healthy fats in that olive oil dramatically improve your absorption of those fat-soluble polyphenols. Half a cup, 3 to 4 times per week. That's the sweet spot the research points to. Easy to work into soups, stews, salads, side dishes. Let me tell you about Margaret, 67 years old, retired school teacher from Tucson. She came to one of my seminars 2 years ago. Family history of colorectal cancer. Her mother, her aunt, both diagnosed in their 60s. She was terrified. Understandably, she overhauled her diet around these exact principles. Black beans 4 times a week. 18 months later, she goes in for her colonoscopy. Her gastroenterologist looks at her and says, "The health of your colon looks 10 years younger than your actual age." Margaret cried right there in that office. She sent me a note I still keep. Small changes, real results. Number 4. Pay close attention here because we're talking about something that's been studied in the context of breast cancer, prostate cancer, and lung cancer and liver cancer, all at the same time. We're talking about walnuts. A collaborative study between researchers at Stanford Medical School and Marshall University found that consuming just 2 ounces of walnuts daily, that's about a small handful, reduced the expression of genes associated with breast cancer metastasis by 58% in women with elevated risk. 58% suppression of cancer spread pathways from a food you can buy in bulk and eat in your car. The research is published, it's peer-reviewed, and it is absolutely remarkable. Here's why walnuts work so powerfully, especially in aging bodies. 3 things happening together. First, walnuts contain a form of omega-3 fatty acid called alpha-linolenic acid. Your body converts that into the same anti-inflammatory compounds you'd get from fish oil. Chronic inflammation, think of it as a constant low-level fire burning inside your tissues, is now understood by oncologists to be one of the primary environments where cancer cells flourish and spread. Walnuts help put out that fire. Second, they contain an antioxidant compound called ellagic acid. Research from Johns Hopkins has shown that ellagic acid can interfere with the blood vessel formation that tumors need to grow. Tumors essentially hijack your body's ability to build new blood vessels, a process called angiogenesis. Ellagic acid disrupts that hijacking. Third, walnuts are one of the richest dietary sources of melatonin. Yes, the same stuff associated with sleep. Turns out melatonin has demonstrated direct anti-tumor activity in multiple cancer cell lines. After 60, your body's natural antioxidant production declines by 30 to 40%. Your mitochondria, the energy factories inside every cell, become less efficient. That means cells are more vulnerable to the kind of oxidative damage that starts cancer. Walnuts step in and compensate for that decline. Eat them raw, not roasted. High heat degrades the omega-3s and reduces the ellagic acid significantly. Here's the synergy tip, and this one's powerful. Pair your walnuts with a small piece of dark chocolate, 70% cacao or higher. The flavonoids in dark chocolate and the ellagic acid in walnuts appear to have a compounding anti-cancer effect. A study from the Mayo Clinic described this combination as producing an effect greater than the sum of its parts. 2 ounces of raw walnuts daily, ideally in the afternoon when your body's antioxidant activity naturally dips. Now we're moving to number 3, and this one has been making serious waves in oncology journals for the past decade. I want you to think about a tiny orange powerhouse that most people associate with Thanksgiving and ignore completely the rest of the year. I'm talking about pumpkin, and specifically the seeds inside it. This might be the most underutilized cancer-fighting food in North America. The flesh of pumpkin is extraordinarily rich in beta-carotene and alpha-carotene. These are carotenoids that your body converts to vitamin A. A massive study published in the Journal of the National Cancer Institute, over 120,000 participants, and found that high intake of these carotenoids was associated with a 28% reduction in lung cancer risk. But the seeds are where things get truly extraordinary. Pumpkin seeds contain a lignin compound called secoisolaraceresinol. Your gut bacteria convert this into a molecule called enterolactone, a phytoestrogen, that has been shown in research from Stanford to dramatically reduce the proliferation of hormone-sensitive cancers. That includes certain breast cancers and prostate cancers. For older adults specifically, this matters for another reason. After 70, your immune system undergoes something called immunosenescence. That's a fancy word for a gradual decline in surveillance capacity. Normally, your immune system patrols your body constantly, 24/7, identifying and destroying rogue cells before they can multiply into tumors. As that surveillance weakens, cancer gets its opening. Pumpkin seeds contain exceptionally high levels of zinc. 1 ounce delivers nearly 20% of your daily requirement, and zinc is absolutely critical for maintaining T-cell function. T-cells are your immune system's frontline soldiers. Restoring zinc levels in zinc-deficient older adults has been shown to meaningfully restore immune surveillance capacity. We're talking about reactivating your body's own cancer defense system. Roast pumpkin seeds lightly at 300 degrees Fahrenheit for about 15 minutes.
lower heat than most recipes recommend because it preserves more of those beneficial compounds. Add them to oatmeal, toss them on salads, or eat them plain as a snack. 1 ounce daily of the seeds, plus 2 to 3 servings of pumpkin flesh per week if you can manage it. Here's the synergy tip. Eat them alongside a source of vitamin C, squeeze of lemon juice, some bell pepper. Vitamin C dramatically enhances zinc absorption in your gut, meaning more of that immune-boosting mineral actually reaches your cells where it's needed. And here's the moment I promised you. Number 2 is coming up, and it's something I'd almost guarantee you've eaten this week. But the way you've been preparing it has been accidentally destroying its most powerful cancer-fighting compound. This one genuinely changed how I cook in my own home. Stay with me. But right now, if this information is giving you value, and I believe it is, take 2 seconds and click that like button and subscribe if you haven't already. I post new evidence-based health content every single week, specifically for adults over 50, and subscribing is absolutely free. Your support allows me to keep making this content, and it means YouTube shows it to more people who desperately need it. Thank you. Now let's keep going. Number 2, I told you this would surprise you. We're talking about broccoli, but with a critical preparation warning that changes everything. Broccoli has long been known to contain a compound called sulforaphane, one of the most intensively studied anti-cancer molecules in all of nutritional science. The National Cancer Institute has described it as having exceptional promise. Research from Johns Hopkins University, they pioneered much of this science, found that sulforaphane can reduce the risk of bladder cancer, breast cancer, and prostate cancer by activating a genetic pathway called NRF2. Think of NRF2 as the master switch for your body's own cellular defense system. When sulforaphane flips that switch, your cells produce a surge of protective enzymes that neutralize carcinogens before they can damage your DNA. This is your body defending itself at the genetic level. Here's the problem, and this is where most people get it wrong. Sulforaphane doesn't actually exist in broccoli. What exists is a precursor called glucoraphanin and a separate enzyme called myrosinase. When these two compounds meet, which normally happens when you chew raw broccoli, they combine to create sulforaphane. But, and this is crucial, when you boil or steam broccoli above 140 degrees Fahrenheit, you destroy the myrosinase enzyme entirely. The glucoraphanin just passes through your body unused. You've eaten the broccoli, you felt virtuous, and you've received approximately 10% of the anti-cancer benefit you could have had. The solution is elegant, and it takes 30 seconds. Before you cook your broccoli, chop it, and let it sit on your cutting board for exactly 40 to 45 minutes. During that time, the mechanical damage from cutting activates the myrosinase and triggers sulforaphane formation before any heat ever touches it. Then you can steam or saute as you normally would, and the sulforaphane, already formed, survives the cooking process. A study from the Cleveland Clinic found this simple technique increased sulforaphane bioavailability by over 300%. 300% from a 45-minute wait. Tell me that's not worth it. Now here's why broccoli belongs this high on our list specifically for people over 50. One of the hallmarks of aging is the accumulation of what scientists call senescent cells. These are cells that have stopped dividing but stubbornly refuse to die. Instead, they just sit there, secreting inflammatory molecules that damage surrounding tissues and create that cancer-friendly environment I mentioned earlier. Sulforaphane has been shown in research from Stanford to selectively accelerate the clearance of these zombie cells from your body. It's like a targeted cleanup crew that your body desperately needs more of as you get older. I had a patient, Robert, 71 years old and retired firefighter from Portland. Robert had been dealing with elevated PSA levels. That's a prostate cancer marker for 3 years. Watched carefully by his urologist. He was anxious, understandably. He made several dietary changes, prominently featuring broccoli prepared the correct way, plus several other foods we're discussing today. Over 14 months, his PSA stabilized and then began to decline. His urologist was cautious, but genuinely surprised. Robert told me he felt like he'd finally found something he could actually do. That sense of agency matters enormously, and I see it again and again. 3 to 4 cups of broccoli per week, prepared with that 45-minute chop and wait technique. Here's the synergy tip. And this is a game changer. Add mustard seed powder to your broccoli after cooking. Mustard seeds contain their own myrosinase enzyme. Research from Johns Hopkins confirmed that adding just a small amount to cooked broccoli restored sulforaphane production almost entirely, compensating even for heat-damaged enzyme. Mustard and broccoli, one of the most science-backed pairings in anti-cancer nutrition. And now, number one. The food at the top of this list is not glamorous. It's not expensive. It will not earn a single follower on social media. But the research behind it is so consistent, so reproduced across so many institutions and so many cancer types that I consider it the single most important thing most adults over 50 are not eating enough of. I'm talking about tomatoes, specifically cooked tomatoes, and the compound lycopene. Lycopene is a carotenoid, a red pigment, and it is one of the most powerful antioxidants found in the human diet. A meta-analysis published in the journal Cancer Epidemiology, Biomarkers and Prevention, pooling data from 21 separate studies involving over 260,000 men, found that high lycopene intake was associated with a 26% reduction in prostate cancer risk overall. And in men with the highest consumption, the reduction in aggressive prostate cancer risk reached 44%. The World Health Organization has flagged lycopene-rich diets as a priority area for cancer prevention research, and the evidence extends to breast cancer, lung cancer, stomach cancer, and cervical cancer as well. Here's the beautiful twist that makes tomatoes unique on this list. Cooking dramatically increases lycopene bioavailability. Unlike sulforaphane in broccoli, lycopene survives and actually multiplies in availability when tomatoes are heated. Lycopene is locked within the cell walls of raw tomatoes, in a form your body struggles to absorb. Heat breaks down those cell walls and transforms lycopene into a configuration your gut can take up with extraordinary efficiency. A study from the Mayo Clinic found that cooking tomatoes for 30 minutes increased lycopene absorption by 55% compared to raw tomatoes, canned tomatoes, tomato paste, marinara sauce, sun-dried tomatoes. These are genuinely more medicinally potent than fresh tomatoes from a lycopene standpoint. For aging bodies specifically, lycopene performs two crucial functions beyond its well-known antioxidant activity. First, it has been shown to inhibit IGF-1, a growth factor that increases in many adults as they age, and that actively promotes the proliferation of cancer cells. It's essentially a biochemical signal that tells cells to grow, including the ones you don't want growing. Lycopene shuts that signal down. Second, research from Stanford found that lycopene specifically protects mitochondrial DNA, the genetic material inside your cell's energy factories, from oxidative damage at a rate that was more pronounced in older tissue than in younger tissue. After 65, your mitochondria are running less efficiently and are more vulnerable to this kind of damage. Lycopene appears to specifically address that vulnerability. 4 to 5 servings of cooked tomato products per week, that's the target supported by research. A serving is half a cup of tomato sauce or a quarter cup of tomato paste. Here's the synergy tip, and this one is essential. Always consume your cooked tomatoes with a healthy fat. Lycopene is fat-soluble, meaning it requires fat to be absorbed. Eating tomato sauce without olive oil is like handing out concert tickets with no venue address. The olive oil is the venue. A study from Johns Hopkins confirmed that adding healthy fat to tomato products increased lycopene absorption by nearly 400%. This is why traditional Italian cooking, olive oil, garlic, and tomatoes together has such a compelling relationship with lower cancer rates in Mediterranean populations. Food culture and biochemistry arrived at the same answer. These 5 foods, black beans, walnuts, pumpkin and its seeds, broccoli prepared correctly, and cooked tomatoes with healthy fat. They represent something extraordinary. They represent the intersection of ancient food wisdom and modern oncology. They cost almost nothing. They require no prescription. They have no side effects other than better health. And every single one of them has been studied by real researchers at real institutions, whose references I've placed for you in the description below this video. I want to speak to you directly for a moment. If you're over 60 or 70, you may sometimes feel that the window for meaningful health change has closed, that the damage is done, the genetics are set, the trajectory is fixed. I want you to hear this clearly. The research says otherwise. Multiple studies have confirmed that dietary interventions in adults over 65 can meaningfully alter cancer biomarkers, immune function, and cellular health within weeks to months of starting. It is never, and I mean never, too late to give your body better information through better food. The goal is not just longer life, it's more vital life, more independent life, more mornings where you wake up feeling capable and strong and present for the people you love. That is what this is about. That's what every piece of research on this list is ultimately serving. You deserve to have this information. You deserve to have had it years ago. And I'm grateful every single day that platforms like this one allow us to have this conversation. If this video helped you today, please subscribe right now. It costs you nothing, and it means the world to this channel and to the community we're building here together. Hit the notification bell so you never miss a new video. And leave me a comment answering this. Which of these 5 foods are you going to add to your routine first? And has this video changed how you'll prepare any of them? I want to know. I read every comment. You're not just a viewer to me. You are the reason this work matters. I'm Dr. Wellness, and I'll see you in the next one.